So once we've kind of accepted what's happening in the moment and perhaps inserted a few moments of curiosity, what's the story that's driving me in this moment? Then it might be time to bring the quality of trust to the situation so that we can then just move on and bring our best to that situation. And simply, what does trust simply mean in this moment? So it's simply this. It is a knowing that the reaction that is being driven by the stories that we are now being curious about, the automatic reaction that's being driven, the emotion, the action, thought processes that is being driven by our assumptions about this situation and our assumptions about the consequences of this situation for us. It's normally not true, by the way, those assumptions. That the storyline that is driving that reaction is trying to protect us from something. But what it's trying to protect us from is actually less dangerous than the consequences of acting on that story. So the storyline is acting to keep us safe. But actually, there's nothing really unsafe about it that should drive such an emotional response. Yeah, we might be late for a meeting, but that won't kill us, especially if we take skillful action. Right? So trust is required so that we can just let go and move on. And it's simply that. It's trusting that the story that is driving my emotional response in this moment is trying to keep me safe from something that is actually not dangerous. What is dangerous is when we act in service of that story. That's dangerous because it could cause us, well, at least emotional damage later on, because we might show up in a meeting, perhaps flustered, not show up at our best, and there may be consequences of that, which are also not that dangerous, but they're more dangerous than the consequences of picking up the phone and saying that we're going to be late for a meeting, for example. Probably be fine. And if it's not fine, well, it is what it is. It wouldn't have been fine anyway, because we are actually going to be late for the meeting. So yeah, bit of trust. Trust that the emotional experience that's driving unskillful behavior is probably unwarranted, so that we can then let go and move on. So of course, trust is kind of related to curiosity. We need to be curious about the storyline that's driving our emotional experience in the moment. And that curiosity about that will, if you wish, underpin our ability to trust that we can let go of that story. So remembering from before that curiosity is where we look at the story and ask ourselves whether the storyline is really true and whether it's really protecting us or whether it's something that might actually be harming us in the moment. Okay. So this curiosity is a precondition for trust, which is acceptance of what's happening in the moment is also a precondition. And then with those qualities, then we're able to let go. So on to practices. So again, we need to catch ourselves, in a moment of maybe fear, perhaps frustration, anger, let's say an unskilled, an afflictive, what we call an afflictive emotional experience, which is an experience that may be driving behavior that doesn't actually serve us, or that an afflictive emotional experience. Catch ourselves in that moment, using the qualities of presence and patience, and then taking a moment of pause after we've poured ourselves, similar to what we've done before under the heading of patience, curiosity, acceptance. All right. And then noticing, whether the behavior that is being blocked, the desired behavior is really genuinely unsafe. Contemplate the cost of acting upon what the emotion wants. Cost to us, cost to others, cost to the system of following this kind of unconstructive pattern that you maybe might like to change. And contemplate the potential benefits of trusting that this story is not unsafe, so that we can then let go of it. Letting go of the unconstructive pattern. Having a moment to just contemplate the benefits of the constructive behavior that better serves our aspirations. And looking through any short-term discomfort that is occurring in the moment as a result of the prediction of what is the worst thing that might happen as a result of this situation. And then activate. Having done that, we might be able to let go of the story and activate the desired behavior. It's quite important after we've done all of that to kind of maybe just take a little note, maybe on your notepad of your phone or something like that, of the result of having done that, particularly in the context of how you felt about what you did, as opposed to what you got as a result of what you did. And then, as always, after we've done it, we can reflect on what we're learning from it. This sounds like, maybe a little bit long-winded to do that, but in fact, when you get used to it, it all takes about 3 seconds, and we're able to just bring back to mind what we should do in that moment that serves us, rather than getting stuck in this unconstructive rumination and anger or frustration or fear. It doesn't serve us.